Hey, good morning. This is the Desert Shaman. Just kind of kicking back today. Got my new glasses, my new Ray-Bans. Uh, Boy, it's like being born again, man, when you get new glasses. That if you haven't had glasses in a while and they're all scratched up and the prescription's gone out or whatever, and then you get your new glasses, it's like, holy shit, I can see again. I thought I'd talk about a few things today. I guess the fact that I'm doing more videos seems to be helping my subscription situation. Got 77 new subscribers last month. Well, maybe they're starting to realize where to come for truth and where to come for, spiritual instruction. See, the thing with me is you get everything in one ball of wax. I mean, you can get your consciousness raising uh, instruction, and you can get your shamanistic instruction or things of that nature, and you can get your stuff about mantras and meditation and all that stuff on the one hand, and then on the other hand, I can just sit here and shoot the shit with you about what's going on in the world and give you my take on it. This railroad strike thing never really happened, not yet anyway. And I'm sitting here thinking, I can just hear these guys in the cabs of their locomotives after they got fucked by the unions and the Congress and the PEB thing and all that stuff. I could just hear them in the cab griping and grumbling about, well, we didn't really get what we wanted, and God damn it, I think this and I think that. You think this stuff after them getting screwed on their 7 days sick. First they gave it to them and then they took it away. I mean, that's worse than you just shouldn't even given it to them in the first place. You know what I mean? That's how Congress works. Oh, yeah, we'll write that in the bill, but then when it goes to uh, the next House or Senate or whatever, no, we don't want that in the bill. So actually, they didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get their 7 days sick leave. And the whole thing about the two-person crew is still up in the air, so wouldn't count on that going anywhere. And then, I go on, like yesterday I went on, I listened to this guy that I go to his channel and I listen to him. I even talk to him. I give him shit, though. I go on, I go and listen to his channel and I make comments, long comments about the stuff that he's putting out there, and kind of liked the guy, but now it's like the more I hear him yap and talk, and I'm not going to mention any names. I've mentioned it in previous videos, but the more I hear him yap and talk about the strike and this and that, I mean, he's like yapping about the fact that, well, they can, what do they want us to do, something illegal, some of these people out there, and uh they tell us we got to get a backbone, and they tell us this and they tell us that. Well, I'm one of the guys that said that, so he might have been talking about me directly, or he might have been, maybe a lot of other people think the same thing. You got to get a backbone and stand up and pull a wildcat strike or pull whatever you need to do to get what you want. But this guy's, to me, he's talking so much in favor of not striking and not really doing anything that I'm starting to think that the guy is some kind of, he's a railroad engineer or conductor, but I'm starting to think that maybe he's more than that. Maybe he's some kind of mole, some kind of plant from the BNSF agency to seed, not discontent, but seed acceptance of the way things are, okay? Acceptance of being under a slave rule, okay, not getting your sick days, and always making excuses, as to why they can't. Well, it is illegal, and people say it isn't illegal, and it's the law. This is the law, and that's the law. And you know what I got to say about that? Fuck the law. That's what I have to say about that. I mean, let's talk about laws in general. Let's talk about, because I did a long series on natural law, okay, and what is real law and what isn't. I mean, there's so many laws on the books in the United States. There's millions, literally millions of laws about everything from spitting on the sidewalk to you can't do this or you can't do that, or who makes the laws? Okay, let's just address this one point. Who makes the laws? Well, government makes the laws. They decide what's going to be a law, and they put it through Congress, and it becomes a law. Well, it might not be a just law. Basically, any law that isn't natural law is unjust, and the government has no right to extend privileges or take privileges away. Under natural law, everybody has a right to do any fucking thing they want as long as they don't hurt somebody else. Okay? That's the rule of natural law. Don't do anything you want as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. And the other one is, the other biggie is if somebody tries to hurt you, you have the right to defend yourself to the point of death, okay? So all these laws that they make up are useless. They have nothing to do with your real rights. Natural law even supersedes the Constitution, in my opinion. And the opinion of any other person that's a thinker that realizes what the government has done to enslave humanity and what's going on in this world, okay? There's just some laws that you just don't obey. I mean, it's that simple. You live your own life. You have your own laws. You have your own sovereignty as an individual. You're a sovereign nation unto yourself, okay? And that goes right along with, if you don't want to be part of the collective consciousness, which is one reality. And then there's your reality where you're a sovereign being and an immortal being and a being that is part of the the great spirit or the spirit that moves in all things. A God being, a co-creator with the creative source. When it comes to that petition there, okay, the only way that you're going to be free from the encumbrances of the AI and all the control factors and the propaganda is to live your own life, create your own world, because we do that anyway. So that's how I address these buffoons that say, "Oh, they want us to break the law. They want us to do this. Law, Congress law, union law, this law, that law." At some point, people, you do have to get a backbone. You do have to stand up for yourself. And if laws are unjust, you have to stand up against those laws that are unjust. You have to stand up and say not having that anymore. Just like when the big health crisis, shall I say, starting with a P, came out, everybody just went like a bunch of lemmings, like a bunch of little followers, like a bunch of little sheep, and just did exactly what they wanted. Meanwhile, while they were doing this and getting locked down and businesses were getting shut down, it destroyed the infrastructure of small businesses and never recovered, probably never will. So caused all kinds of financial havoc, not to mention mortality havoc, okay, with the follow-ups that they did with that. So there's just another example of how people just follow the status quo, and then they find out later that, hey, I made a big mistake, or I shouldn't have taken that quote unquote medicine, or I shouldn't have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. But at the time, they just get sucked into this panic and this fear. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, I mean, all the stuff that you're experiencing is just a big bluff. It's like playing Texas Hold'em. It's like playing poker. Well, let's see how much the government thinks this way. They think, well, let's see how much we can bluff the people into doing this, or let's pull a false flag and scare the people and run a bluff on them and make them fearful so that they'll do this and they'll do that. This is a continual tape loop that goes over and over and over again, this bluff, 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 bluff. Just like the railroad thing, okay? That's a bluff. In my opinion, that's a bluff because, if people were to go out on strike, I guess there's upward of 150,000 rail employees. What are they going to do? Go out and arrest all of them? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And that's what some of these people saying. Yeah, they could be arrested. Really? Logistically, it wouldn't be possible to do that. Okay. I mean, logistically, they can't even create enough military or National Guard or whatever they would use. They can't even garner enough manpower to have martial law in this country. They don't have logistically, they couldn't do it, or they couldn't get enough manpower to go around and take everybody's guns away, or they could, these are all bluffs, okay, because people are so in fear of the government and the military and the police that they think that they could just come out in droves and SWAT teams and this and that. Not going to happen, people. Not going to happen. They don't have the logistics to do that. And if they did, they'd face a shitstorm. They'd face, let's say they tried to take guns away. They'd face, that wouldn't go over too well with the populace, and they would face a shitstorm. Okay. Now, as far as the legality and the illegality of doing a strike, okay, let's say a wildcat strike with the rail thing, who cares? Who cares? It's another bluff that they're trying to run, they don't logistically have the people to enforce that kind of thing. Can they take other measures? Well, sure, we'll never hire you back, that type of thing. And yes, there was the Patco strike that these people are talking about, but it's a whole different ball game there. So what would happen if all these people just said no to the bullshit that's being laid on the populace as a whole? And I'm talking the rail strike and just life in general. Just the shit that they try to lay on our heads about, we got to do this and we got to do that and we got to conform to this and we got to conform. Aren't you getting tired of that stuff? Don't you just want to create your own world and live in your own world? And the less that you have to do with that whole situation, the better off you're going to be, because you then create your own reality and your own way of thinking. And so there's a big difference in like what these people are talking about, like taking a side with basically what some of these railroaders are doing that have their videos is they're taking a side with the carriers, with the big corporations, you know. Why are they doing that? Are they that freaking scared? Are they that lily-livered to where they think that they gotta, or are they being paid by BNSF or the carriers to go out there and stall and put out a narrative where it would be useless to strike and all of this stuff, okay? That's what I think is happening here. You know, I don't have proof of that, but it wouldn't surprise me a bit because they use people, make them look like good guys. It's the same old thing. Just like the truther movement, they all look like good guys, and the patriot movement and all that, yet it's totally controlled. It's a totally controlled operation. Some of the people in there that are doing it don't even know it's controlled. At some point, you have to use your own common sense, use your own free will, use your own reasoning powers, use your own intuition, use your own consciousness to create the things that you want, okay? But you can't run around in fear all the time of all this shit that they're continually laying on your head. And you can't run around in fear about the events that are going on in the world. And you can't run around in fear of the government, okay? Because it isn't a government at all. It's a mafia. Has nothing to do with being a government. Hasn't been a government in a long time. It's a group of people that are just like the mafia. You got your mafia dons at the top. They call them the elite. They call them the oligarchs, but it's the same deal. It's the same deal. And the sooner you bail out, sooner you realize that you're living in a kind of a molded reality, an AI reality, a propagandized reality, sooner you realize that, then that's when you can break free from it. And where do you break free from it? Well, you break free from it in your own mind first. That's where you break free. It's not a big taboo to say, hey, you know what, whatever this circus and these monkeys and these government monkeys out there are doing, I have a choice about whether I want to obey any of their laws or go along with their agendas or go along with their programs. I have a choice about that. And if I make a choice that seems radical to others, it seems like an anarchist point of view or let's say a revolutionary point of view, hey, all the better, man, because that means you're the black sheep. You're not the one that's going over the cliff. You're not the lemmings that are following the other lemmings. You're not the sheep, okay? You're out of that syndrome. You're out of the collective consciousness. You're not getting sucked into the false reality out there. You're keeping your own independence. You're keeping your own sovereignty. You're keeping your own detachment from all this bullshit. And you're thinking for yourself, you know, you're not letting a group of other people think for you. So yeah, you know, I wanted to touch a little bit on the rail thing, you know, how ridiculous that is. These people at some point they're going to rise up at some point, and then it's going to be all over. They're going to wake up at some point because they're just wearing them down. I mean, nothing has been accomplished. They're just wearing them down, wearing them to a frazzle. They're not going to be able to keep up this pace, and they put them under all this pressure so they won't keep up the pace. And you know, it's real obvious. And so if you're one of these assholes out there, and you know who I'm talking to, that's on a rail channel, or calling yourself a conductor, and you're not standing up for your people, and you're coming down on the side of always caving in and always giving in, and there ain't nothing we can do, and there's nothing that we can do, and there's nothing that we can do. You need to take serious stock of yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to ask yourself a bunch of questions, okay? Are you really doing your brothers a service when you tell them to just, we can't do anything, there's nothing that we can do? If you don't think a massive strike or a wildcat strike is in order, get together and create a campaign. Do something, okay? Do something constructive instead of just sitting there on your ass saying we can't do this and we can't do that. That's not helping the rank and file, okay? The macrocosm is the microcosm. The big picture is the little picture, okay? And basically the big picture is we're slaves, or they're trying to enslave mankind. They're trying to depopulate mankind. They're trying to AI mankind, with the artificial intelligence. They're trying to make a transhumanism agenda, okay? So the more that you can raise your consciousness and the more that you can get out of that situation, the better you're going to be. I'm gonna show you right now a little bit about my book. You can help me out on this channel by going to Spirit of Crazy Horse, and the links are in the show notes below. spiritofcrazyhorse.com. It's a real easy thing to remember. And I got my books on here. I got several links. Got a mailing list. I got a place. You always have to click on the picture for the link. Got a place here where you can go, get my PDF, my books in PDF. Got a mailing list here. Got to donate. If you donate $10 or more, you get a free book, PDF version, electronic version. You can buy my books over here from Amazon or Gumroad, which is the PDF version. You can go to my art here. If you click on Thunder's art, this is a little small thumbnail of some of the art I do. I do a lot of different pictures and things of that nature. Any of this stuff that you do will help me and help my channel. And besides that, you're going to get a great, great book in any of these two books, either Emergence or Listen to the Wind. So, might want to do that to support this channel, as well as go down there, on the video in the right-hand corner, there's a little red square. You hit that, you can subscribe, and it's always nice if you like the video. Got to go through all this stuff because that's what brings more people to my channel. And you want to get as many people to this channel as possible, seriously. I'm doing more videos. I got a better platform. I'm doing a whole lot of good videos on consciousness raising and mantras and things that will just help mankind in general. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to do the consciousness raising and the teaching of different techniques and the talking about different aspects of ancient civilizations and ancient techniques and what might be coming down in the future, and based on a whole bunch of different things that are pretty evident if you cross-reference and you go back into, let's say, history, and you go back into ancient books and you do a lot of reading and that type of thing, which I do. I got a lot of stuff, most of the stuff right in my head. I could just talk off the top of my head for hours about any subject that you wanted, really. From, ancient aliens to ancient civilizations to ancient techniques to shamanistic stuff, Native American stuff. Man, I've covered it all. And it all is kind of, I try to connect it all in some way, shape, or form. All right, I'm going to leave it there until I see you again. Adios.